Three, two, one. We are live. I miss the intro music too, guys. You guys keep telling me I miss it too. That'll be back when we do the live recordings like we used to, before. I think it was episode 24. So that'll be back. Find all the episodes at the coolkidstabllepodcast.com. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the Cool Kids Table Podcast, Twitter, the Cool Kids Pod. Yeah, I think that's all. My guest today is my good friend, Jorge Vargas. You might remember George from episode 3. We only had an hour that day because we were doing it at a coffee shop back when the show was in the infancy, and they were closing because I had some car trouble. And so he's back. We just set this up today, like within the last 48 hours, because he commented on one of the posts on Facebook. And here he is connecting to audio. So let's have him in his own words. Jorge Vargas, are you there?
I'm here. Are you here?
I'm here. Loud and clear?
Can you hear me?
I
Tested
can hear you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it.
ABC. Let's handle, man.
Where's your beer at? Well, you said you had Tito's, right?
Well, I have the Tito's here, but I just went to the freezer right now, the fridge, and I found this thing right here.
Oh, cool.
Truly.
Sparkling salsa.
But I don't. It expires April 2020. I don't really drink these, but it's still good, right? It has an extended shelf.
I mean, it was in the freezer.
All right, let's crack this, man.
I don't want you to fucking get sick, though. You hear it?
You hear that?
I heard it.
I heard mine, man. Cheers, brother.
Hold on. Hold on. Cheersies. Like my daughter says, salud.
All right, we just cheers right now. Oh, man, I hope it's still good. Pomegranate.
Time.
What is up with your hair, man? What is up with your hair?
Got a little mullet going for Quarantini 2020.
Quarantini.
Trying to commemorate, things have been going on the personal level. Things suck. This is my 6th week out of work. I don't mind. It was by choice. And
okay,
I was going to put the podcast on a hiatus. I was like, dude, this is a one-on-one show. I like being in front of the person, seeing their reactions. The face says a lot, right? Even when they don't say anything. And I read body language pretty well. So I was just like, that was one of my things that I quote unquote good at. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do anything with this. And then so the first week I did nothing. And then I was just kind of like, what am I going to do for fucking the next month or however long I'm going to be like this? So I just kind of fucking started pumping out content. Like I used to do 1 episode a week when I first initially started, which you were a part of.
Okay.
And I took a 5-month break and I was doing every other week just to, life's a little overwhelming. And so I started doing 2 episodes a week during the quarantine because everybody has fucking free time to record. And people are bored of Netflix, bored of Hulu, there's no sports to watch, So this thing got a lot of traction the last month, but
So what do you consider a lot of traction? What is a lot of traction compared to the content you were delivering the previous weeks?
In the last 6 weeks ago, the podcast on its own was like getting listens, right? Like it was growing here and there just because, new episode brings new listeners, that type of thing. And then when the first week I published, like I just saw like a big influx of new listeners, people, that's how I not value, but I kind of see it like there's people I don't know start messaging me like, hey man, found episode, whatever. My friend recommended this episode. And so I started seeing that. And then so I just kept pumping out 2 more a week. And then say like the second week of quarantine, I released 2 episodes. And it was just a huge skyrocket. Like all these people listen to that, right? Because there's nothing else. So I guess if you subscribe or whatever, it tells you like, hey, there's a new episode today. And so there was just a big influx. And then in the last 4 weeks, we've quadrupled from where we were at.
Shit.
Yeah, so it's not like we got 20, 30 more followers. It's 400%, which is pretty crazy. We charted 2 weeks ago for the first time.
I saw that. You were like 900 or 9,000 or something like that, or out of I forgot.
In the worldwide, in the top 4,200, US.
Yeah.
3,800, something like that, and it went up last week. And I'm curious to see where it will go this week because initially, like Thursday, Fridays, we get a shitload of listens, but then it kind of like staggers. Because I sometimes I think about like maybe releasing like on a Sunday night or Monday night, because Thursday, Friday gets a lot of listens, and then Saturday, Sunday, it kind of, even though we're in quarantine, people kind of, I don't know, the weekend,
Oh,
it
it
kind of
tells you
fizzles
your
out
content by week,
by
by
week, by
day.
day, by hour, all that. So
your Fridays are your busiest.
Thursday, the day we release is like the
Oh,
busiest by
okay.
far. But
Yeah, that's tight,
so
man.
so with that being said, so I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I get it. I'm not oblivious. Like this might not last forever, and it's not going to last forever. But so I don't know if the peak will, it'll continue rising, or if once the quarantine's over, it'll just like plummet, which I don't know. I can't tell. So I said I might never ever make it into the charts again. That's just a fact. It's who knows. So I was like, how can I remember? And I was like, oh, how will I remember quarantine 2020? And I was like, I'll fucking get a mullet because I need a haircut regardless, and I could have a mullet, and in that way I always be like, yeah, why did you get a mullet? That was the week that I made it to the fucking top fucking 4,000 or whatever podcasts worldwide. It was, even if it was only for like 2 or 3 weeks, at least there's that. So that was long answer to a short question.
Who cut your hair on the side?
My brother.
David?
No, Mauro.
The other one?
Yeah.
All right.
So
that's tight, man.
So
I'm growing out my hair.
Yeah. What about you? I was about to say, what about your hair?
I've been growing mine out. I've been growing it out since maybe December.
Okay.
I don't know. I just grow it out. Either I have the mohawk, I'm bald, or I grow it out. So right now I've just been growing out this sucker. But I'm glad for your podcast, man. I think it's something that you can tell your kids or even feel accomplished yourself, like where you can tell yourself, I did that. I had a podcast at one point and I had X amount of followings. I hit this, I hit that. Something to talk about, like the one that I heard a few days ago was like half of the one that the Mexican broadcaster,
Yeah,
like his highlight year was like 2012, right, where he had all that. But that's something that he personally, like, that's his memory, that's his highlight of his life. But with you, this can be one of those highlights where you cherish this moment, man. So whether it plummets, whether it skyrockets, at least you did it, because not everyone else is doing it, right?
And
So be
that's
proud of that.
I mean, I'm trying to take it day by day. Like it's
Yeah, man.
it's
So
crazy,
as far as COVID, man, how are you impacted? Like I feel like this is probably like the hot topic right now, right? Coronavirus. Do you feel like this is a media scare? I feel like pro-Trump supporters are saying like we're ready to open because they want to open, but Democrats are not. I mean, I don't know. I just been watching CNN, but I know different channels. But at the end of the day, man, do you think these numbers are being overpopulated where non-respiratory, non-pulmonary diseases are being counted as the statistics? Or I don't know. What is your take on that?
All right. Heavy question. So let me start off. There's political bias on both sides. One thing about people wanting to open up the economy, it's like open up the salon so I could get a haircut. It's not like open up so I could go to work. They want to be catered to. Open up so I can, fucking get my ice cream and shit. They don't want to go back to work. They want you to go back to work. Opening up the economy is, I don't have any data in front of me. It's just one of those things I think about when I'm, throughout my day. And I'm like, they just don't want people on unemployment. They want people to, like, quote unquote, to leech off the government. They rather like, fuck it, let them go to work. Just an opinion, right? I'm not collecting unemployment. Most of my friends aren't collecting unemployment. So it's not like I have a dog in the fight. It's just something I was thinking about the last few days. With the whole thing about the numbers being, I've heard certain things like that. I've read certain things that people in the hospitals are dying of, like, let's say they had lung cancer and it's like, oh, COVID got to them. So those numbers are kind of, but then there's also cases in New York where people had the symptoms and they were being sent home, like, because they were at full capacity and those people were dying. So did they die due to COVID? Like, in a sense, yes, because they could have died from maybe something that could have been manageable had they had the space or the room or the capabilities to help them out. So in a sense, I try to keep, like an open mind, because there is political bias in every regard. Like Trump's doing this as a look what they did. I had the economy running high. I had whatever. And it's like, if you look at the facts and just people look at the stock market and say, our economy was doing great. Like, no, it wasn't. The rich people were getting rich. Everybody else is still working 2-3 jobs. Unemployment rate is low because everybody has 2-3 jobs. So yeah, there's no unemployment because everybody's working so damn much to survive. Then you have the, what is it called? The Wall Street plummets as soon as people stop working. So they don't need fucking billionaires. They need the working class to keep the economy running. So what do? They pump up the stock market. And so the stock market is fucking killing it right now again. How is that correlate with the economy when everybody's fucking suffering? And I try not to be biased, right? Because me personally, I
Yeah.
wasn't doing great, but I was, like I said, I was working
You were
50,
hustling, yeah.
55 hours a week on the regular, 7 days. I mean, week in, week out. Sometimes I work 5 days, sometimes I work 7, but I still got my hours. And I've been affected by this because I have had no income. This is my 6th Monday off. So I'm over a month already of no income whatsoever. I'm
So
surviving.
were you, if you don't mind me asking, were you laid off or you're furloughed? Like
I was
what's
essential. I could have continued working, but I chose to leave just because I was like,
so you have a job once everything gets back?
now it's looking like, yeah, I've been in
That's
talks with
good.
them, but I just feel like I wouldn't go back anytime soon. And I mean, I guess I'm lucky, fortunate
Yeah.
that I'm surviving, right? I still got time to bullshit. I still got, like, people are worried about, like, dude, if I stop working, I get kicked out of the house. I fucking lose my apartment. Whatever. And we're good. I'm good. I'll be fine for another. This is what I had said. I was good for 6 weeks, for sure, 6 weeks.
Okay.
So last week I was kind of having like mini panic episodes, like, oh fuck, things are. If this is
Running out or
week
whatever, right?
5, yeah, this week would be my last week, right? So that's when I started kind of say, you know what, control what you can, and what you can't control. So why stress? So I just going to be taking it day by day, and I try to stay informed, but at the same time, the first week I spent so much fucking time online on CNN, on Fox News, on fucking the podcast, just trying to get as much information. Where I was just like, what is this little wetback gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna make a post on fucking Facebook that's gonna change everybody's life? Like, just relax, Hector. Everybody's going through their own shit. I'm just gonna fucking focus on what I can. And that's when I completely just went on the podcast, that I could control that. I have the time for it right now. I
Okay.
I started doing the challenges. I just finished my first book today. I know a lot of people say, in May, motherfucker. Yeah. I picked up the wrong books. And when you're like halfway through and you're like, dude, I got to finish this. And so today I just say, you know what? I'm halfway through. I'm going to finish it. And so I've been trying to keep a level head and like my eyes forward, like I know what I'm
Yeah.
going to do come out of this quarantine. Like, that's why I said I might not go back to work, because I might just branch out and do my own thing, because I'm like, a lot of the listeners know my story. Like, I drive out there to see my daughter. If I'm getting her more often now than I was before Corona, why would I drive out there to work 5-6 days a week when there isn't that need, when I'll have her just as much time? So I was like, okay, I need to figure out something for the short time here. And so it's tricky, because I try not to put my own personal opinions on it, but at the same time, like, the whole race thing. There's black people fucking throwing a barbecue and then they get the cops called on them. You have armed civilians at the fucking Capitol in various states with machine guns and shit, and they're getting yelled at in their face, and yet they don't have anything. And yet, if it was a black man, how many times have we not seen that? I feared for my life. He had a fucking
Yeah.
wallet, or he had a fucking cell phone, and yet these guys have the fucking guns on them, and there is no anything. So it's a complex issue, and people try to summarize it in a 1 or 2 sentence phrase on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, where it's so many layers to this, so many things. Yes, there's people lying on the left. Yes, there's people lying on the right. Are the doctors biased? Like, what the fuck? We still got anti-vaxxers saying this is just a ploy. We got the Trump people like out protesting, but they have a mask on. Like, why do you have a mask on? Like, if this is bullshit, like, things don't add up, So it's always a weird time to be alive, but this is just documented. We have the podcast, the TV, the radio, newspaper, documenting this, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this time will be studied in the future, how either we were
How much
completely
it was
wrong,
fucked up.
or how crazy just this whole, it's like, it's boiling right now. When they say the kettle's boiling, like right now, it's just waiting to burst, because trust me, there's people educated that are armed saying, dude, if I was that person right now, I would have been shot already. I would have been arrested. You read those things today in, I think it was San Diego or somewhere near San Diego. A gentleman wore a Ku Klux Klan fucking headpiece while he went grocery shopping, And I was talking to my sister about that. I said, that's freedom of speech. He has the same right as you and I. That's freedom of speech.
Yeah.
That's what makes this country great. So that being said, there's also, that doesn't mean freedom of repercussions. If his fucking landlord wishes to evict them because of I don't know if there's a constitutional right that you can't do that, but if his job wants to fire him because they don't want to be associated with somebody like that, if your friends don't want to hang out with you because his friends probably have the same beliefs, but just as an example, like, those are all things you can do. Like, if you go into a 7-Eleven and you don't have shoes on, they have the right to refuse to sell to you. So you can, if you go, I think it was at Avance, like Avance could say, hey, we're not going to serve you. That's what the freedom of freedom of speech doesn't entail, so it's just crazy, man. What do you think
I don't
about
know,
this whole thing? How has your life
I
been
don't know,
affected?
man. I think I'm on the. I don't know. I think that certain decisions that he's making, I think it's making them about himself. Like he's just boasting himself, like, oh, I've done this. Like we're like on schedule, but the projections today show like by August there'll be like 164,000 dead. So what he's saying is like
Hello?
predictions, right?
Hold
100
on,
to 240,000.
I think you
So he's
glitched.
like,
Hold on. I think you glitched for a minute. We'll go back and start up.
I
You,
forgot what I was saying.
you said the predictions. You said like
Oh yeah,
in
the
June.
predictions are saying 164,000 by August, right? 3,000 deaths every single day, basically in June. That's what they're predicting. But then Trump is saying like, yeah, that's basically what our offices were saying, that it was going to be between 100 and 240,000 deaths. So like he's giving himself credit, like he's doing everything right. Like the whole bleach incident,
Oh
we
yeah.
just, I don't know, man. It's just to the point where I understand that this is democracy, right? And we saw him in. But at one point, can the people take it back and say, you know what, you're just too stupid. You got to get the fuck out of here. Like, you're
But
done.
the thing is, George, he's probably going to win again in November. Like, look at all the people that are protesting here in fucking Huntington Beach today, in San Diego, San Bernardino yesterday. Like, these people want to open it up, and they're like, they will die for Trump. Like, they're like, this is my president. And what a lot of people don't realize, these are the people that vote. Their vote counts just as much as yours. And then, truth be told, people under 35 don't vote in the majority. So
Yeah, that's true.
and
The same millennials, man. It's
yeah,
fuck shit up for us.
and the
Yeah, it
boomers
is what
go
it
out
is.
and vote. And unfortunately, that's the way it works. Do I agree with his policies? No, but his people are ride or die, dude. They are ride or die. They still think
They're
he's doing a
literally
great
dying.
job.
Yeah.
They will, the healthcare thing, he took it off, and now they're trying to find an excuse. Like, anything he does, they already called it, I forgot what some sort of paradox. Like, no, he didn't say that. And if he did say it, that's not what he meant. And he meant it, you're taking it the wrong way. But it doesn't matter because,
Sarcasm.
no, not even sarcasm. It's like, oh, let's say he said, hey, we never landed on the moon. And people would be like, oh, he didn't say that. Then you show them, like, look, this is where he said we didn't land on the moon. Oh, you're taking it the wrong way. That's not what he meant. And if he did mean it, he meant it like as a metaphor. We didn't land on the moon like us, me and you. He meant like, like they always have an excuse for him, no matter what it is. They have an excuse. That's the type of
Yeah.
supporters I want. So if you guys fuck with me like that, fucking shoot me a DM.
Yeah.
We're starting a
He didn't
cult.
do
Hey,
it.
George, we're starting a cult. That's what I've seen.
You can be our leader, man.
No, I don't want to be a leader. I just want to be part of it.
Let's get this other drink going.
All right.
So I got Tito's.
You got what?
Tito's.
Cheetos?
Yeah, the vodka.
Oh, Tito's. I heard Cheetos.
Hachiros?
Yeah. No, so
How's the
that
family, man? How's your daughter?
she's great, man. She misses school and her friends. It's kind of crazy. I miss those kids a little bit. You know, like they were fun. I was in there two, three times a week volunteering. So I was like, damn, dude, like I would spend a lot of time with them. You know, I'd help them out when not really like a teacher, but just, supervising on the playground, no fights, anything like that. So it was
Yeah,
fun.
man.
My
I
daughter's
thought in high
fucking
school you were very smart, man. I thought you were very smart. You always
um,
had good grades, so yeah, yeah, you still have a lot of potential to like be like a teacher's aide or something. You
I
know, that's something that you were the smart one.
I don't think that, but
No, I
thank
do.
you.
I used to read a lot.
That's, Unfortunately, I did a
I used to
challenge
get
this year.
distracted. Huh?
I did a challenge this year, 2020 challenges. I think I messaged you when you didn't fucking reply for 4 months. I 20 challenges. One of them is read 16
The
books, and
comedy, right? I don't. The thing is with that, man, I don't know how to describe it. Like the actions that I would do, I guess they were funny, or what I would say, or in the moment. But for me to stand up there and like give material, like I don't think I have material.
dude,
Like I'm more like I don't know, like a show, like
I
not a
feel
stand up.
you and Albert are the funniest people I've ever met, like personally in my life. And I mean that
See,
sincerely.
Albert said it fine. He's like, look, I don't do material. Like I just do shit to
No,
be funny.
but that's what
But
these comedians do. They just fucking figure out a way to write it to be able to be told as a story. And I know that's
you
what
really
what
have to dedicate yourself to that. And the thing about comedy, man, like every single thing has already been like, well, not everything, but shit has been taken. So you have to be very careful on what you do. And us, we come from like a Latino family. So we say a joke like, "Oh, your mom used to throw the chancla at us." Well, how many other comedians have said that? Like
what
it's you have to deliver something completely new.
but how
You
many
know?
new specials come out per year? How many new comedians is there to coming up? So I mean, I just made it in the form of like, I think you and Albert would do great, and it surprised me honestly that both of you guys said like, you know what, I'm not interested. I was like, what? Like, you guys would be great at this, like fucking amazing at this. But I mean, to each their own, right? Something doesn't interest you, or you kind of feel like you wouldn't be able to do it. I disagree, but I'm not gonna be like, George, you have to do it. Albert, you have to.
Yeah.
I just felt like you guys were honestly the two people that I would say, okay, I could see these two guys. Fuck, there's others, but you two being like, I know you would succeed in this. Like, I've been around you, I've heard your humor. Me and you used to share stories, dude. Like, you'd be
Yeah,
killer.
super. But how do my my I don't know, man. Like I want to. Like my girl supports me with that too. She says, you should go to open mic, even if it's 5 minutes. And she got me like a little blue notebook. I wrote a couple jokes on there, but kind of like a scribble type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was kind of like fat jokes and like different types of jokes. But people are sensitive, so I don't know what type of
But see,
shit,
I mean, yes and no, because it's comedy. You got to push the boundaries. If the comedians can't get like fucking Ari Shafir, right when Kobe passed away, he made a fucking like a bunch of jokes at Kobe's
That guy's
expense.
still alive,
Ari?
or he got ousted, huh?
Yeah.
Big time,
Yeah. No, no,
big
and
time. I think there were some death threats.
yeah. And that's the thing. I didn't find it funny. I didn't find it offensive, like, oh my God. But I was like, fuck this fool, even though I don't like I listened to him on Joe Rogan's podcast. He never was funny enough for me to go and check him out on his own. But that's the thing. That's what a comedian does. I think it was Izzy that tagged me on one of the other homies' posts. Like, no, dude, this is what they do. Like when people make dead baby jokes, like I laugh because it's so dark and funny. Like I'm not happy that there's a fucking dead baby, but it's funny, Like the way they
No,
do it,
yeah.
they push the envelope. Like that's what comedians do. A good comedian does it. Did this guy do it in bad taste? And then the worst thing is the jokes weren't funny. He was just being
No,
offensive. So if Louis C.K., my favorite, and I think
I love Louis C.K.
he had so many 9/11 jokes like a week later. Were they offensive? Yeah, but they were fucking hilarious. So I felt like shit laughing, but I was like, damn, dude, this guy is talented. And that's what makes him great. He's not scared to go those places where people are going to say, hey, man, that's offensive. And then get 90% of the people are laughing their ass off. So yeah, people are
Different
pussies.
things, man. I think we're probably more offended. Like 9/11, it happened, right? And whatever, like if I were to hear a joke and you see like Family Guy or whatever, like I personally wasn't impacted by it. Like, yeah, I know other people were, but I feel like with Kobe's passing, like that one was tougher on me because, like, dude,
Yeah.
like that's the guy that I idolized, right? That's
Same.
a black mama mentality.
Yeah.
So that one hit home. So it's like, dude, like shut the fuck up, like no.
Yeah.
So that's
And
why you're able to laugh at the 9/11 joke, but
no,
if
yeah,
you
that's what
have
I'm
somebody
saying.
impacted, like it's something
Somebody
different.
from New
Like how we
York.
didn't
Yeah.
laugh at that Kobe joke. So
Yeah.
you
No,
you, you
I
stick with
agree.
the Kobe,
But
right? So you stick with what doesn't offend you, and you run with it. Like dead baby jokes, like I'll laugh at that. Like, but I mean, it gets to a point where
how
you're
dark
gonna
does it
offend too
get?
many people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's touchy. It's touchy, and right now with so many people like sensitive, like are people gonna come out with coronavirus jokes? Like, are you
Yeah.
probably already have some jokes?
There's people out there. I've seen a few.
Yeah, but people that were impacted by it, they're probably not gonna laugh at that,
No.
right?
Yeah. And I mean,
So it's just I don't know.
I
But
feel like it's a
Kobe's death was
break
something.
from the stagnant life. Like if we could bring a chuck or even like, oh, you fucking. Cause I don't look at it like, oh man, look at him. He's laughing at us because people are. It's like he found an escape. He found a way to make the situation funny. An unfunny situation funny. That's talent. So I look at it like, oh, this fucking son of a bitch. And I don't dwell on it like, oh my God, like, look, he's trying to fucking whatever. My auntie, my uncle, my nephew, so and so passed away from COVID. It's like, no, like, there was a joke. I get it. He's a comedian. He said a joke. I go on with my life. If it's that good of a joke, I'll share it with my friends. Be like, hey, did you guys hear what so and so said? Dude, that's, I don't say that's how everybody thinks, but I just feel like that's the way, especially if you enjoy comedy. If you enjoy comedy, you know what the fuck you're getting into. How could you be offended when these guys are trying to get a reaction out of you? Like they're doing their job and they're doing a good job if they got a fucking reaction out of you. Like,
Yeah, I agree. Let's get some things on paper. But you're right. I think you're right. I should at least do that.
give it a
My
shot.
bucket list. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like how you did this podcast. You did it. You're out there. What if I get a couple laps, right? And who knows? Like, what if I like it? What if I'm like, you know what, more material? But with stuff like that, with comedy, it's not something where you can just do like on the side. Like, you have to really like look at things. Like a comedian constantly looks at his surroundings. Like, here's the controller, right? Like, how can I make that funny? And you really have to like think outside the box, right?
George, with all due respect, dude, me and you used to walk to school together like fucking 3 or 4 years in Mount View, and we still hang out a couple years after. That was what you did. Like you would make the most basic shit funny. I'd be like, dude, he's talking about going to the fucking grocery store and I'm getting a kick out of it over here. You get me? Like maybe because I'm the person seeing it and you're the person living it, you didn't think like you would make boring situations funny.
Just observations, then.
Yeah.
An observational jokester.
And
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
I mean, in
Just
my
have to run.
opinion,
Hector, do you remember when your brother ran over my friend?
I wasn't there, but I from what I know, you guys were playing with. No, why don't you say the story? What were you
All
guys
right,
doing?
let's get to one of the stories here. It was me, my friend Michael, and my friend
Shout out to the
Jose.
Flying Hawaiian. That's Michael,
He
right?
lives in Alaska right
Oh,
now.
that's what's
I
up.
lost touch with that guy. I mean, I follow him on social media, but he just packed up and moved to Alaska. But
That's
on that
cool.
day, just kids, like back when we used to go out, you know, where it's me, Mike, and Jose, and we seen this beehive, or yeah, this nest, but it was at the bottom of the, like on the gas lines, right? You know how they're on the street and you pick it up and you read the meter. There was
Yeah.
a nest there, and on the corner of Magnolia and Durfee, there's a laundromat and there's a little store as well. So we want to go buy these gas bombs, or those smoke bombs,
Okay.
and with those, we're like, I think bees get confused when you throw smoke at them, and like, all right, let's go get some bees. So we ended up going to that corner store and we ended up buying some smoke bombs. So we go in and we go back and then we light it up and then we throw it in there. And then the smoke starts clearing out. The bees do start coming out. What ended up happening was Me and Mike were on the sidewalk, but this guy was facing, his back was towards the street, dropping it in there. The bee starts chasing him, and he's walking backwards, and he's walking backwards. And then you see, I might be wrong, but did your brother have a red car? Was it a
Yeah,
red? It was a red car, right?
some sort of red car.
Me and Mike are still like on the sidewalk, and this guy's running backwards, and I'm seeing everything. You ever see those situations where you're seeing it happen, but it just moves as slow as possible?
I have.
So I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at this guy like walking backwards, and I'm seeing the car coming, and I don't know. It feels like you can see like the bee's wings flapping, like one flap at a time, right? That's how slow everything looked to me at that moment. This guy, your brother, runs him over. He hits him.
I shouldn't be laughing, but see, the situation is
He
funny.
hits him, right? He hits him, and his body hits your brother's hood, and he goes flying. This guy goes flying, and he lands on his fucking head.
Whoa.
He's there, and he gets up, and me and Mike, we're just quiet, and we're just looking at him, and he's looking at us, and it's like just shocked, just silent. It's just the weirdest thing. The next thing you hear, "Mama, Mama!" He starts yelling for his mom. And this guy had the biggest fucking bump on his head, and he's running in. And me and Mike were like, dude, I think we might have killed this guy. Like, what if he has a fucking internal bleeding or like his brain bleed or something? And he ended up going into the hospital, and he came back like that. Luckily, that same day, the ambulance picked him up. But that guy had a fucking soccer ball like hanging out of his head, man. Like, I don't know, it's just crazy. But the moral of the story, man, is it was your brother okay?
No, no, he wasn't. Um, he got his car towed because he wasn't at fault. Like they did the whole investigation and shit. But he wasn't. He was like 16, I think, 16 or
Oh,
17,
oh, he
and
didn't
so
have his license?
he had a permit,
Ah, shit.
and so the cops came and they towed his car, and the emotional and physiological toll it took on him was huge. George, he had to work for his car
Ah,
back.
shit.
No, I'm just kidding. Like he
But
was like, dude, that kid came out of nowhere. And neighbors said that like there was multiple witnesses. That's what got him off the hook, and said, yeah, these three kids were playing out in the middle of the street,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
there was
it
smoke
does.
around, so he couldn't see, and then he just heard a boom, and he broke. He didn't leave. Like he, I forget what homie, but one of the homies used to live on the street, and I guess his brother came out to talk to him and told him, hey, dude, like just relax. I'm a witness. You didn't do anything wrong. They shouldn't be playing
Nah,
out
he
in the street like
didn't.
that.
That was
So
on us, but
so the cops
I
just
don't
took his
know. The
car,
thing
but
is like
that was it.
we didn't see your side, like how you guys were affected by it,
No,
and
I'm just
we
kidding.
didn't
I'm just
see
kidding. I'm just
theirs.
kidding. He wasn't affected at all. He was just like, dude, I fucking hit a kid. So he was just kind of like, fuck, what are you gonna do to me? He was fucking like underage, no license. He had just had his car for like 3 weeks, so he was like, what the fuck. And he was shook at the moment, like, what the fuck happened? But he was cool. Like I was just kidding about the emotional and
The emotional
psychological. Yeah, yeah,
distress.
yeah, yeah. I was just kidding about that. Yeah, he wasn't tripping. He was just kind of like, I hit a
Nah,
kid,
well,
but
it's scary. No, like I would have been scared. Like I literally just freaking ran over somebody. Like that part's fucking scary.
yeah,
But now that you think about it, like again, I don't see like on his side, like his medical bills and all that, your stuff. But kids will be kids. But I guess stay away from the bees
stay away from don't
and
fuck around with the bees.
don't don't fuck around with bees because you'll get run over,
That's a good way to put it.
right? Yeah, that's a good thing right there. But that's this random shit that we had.
I
I
mean,
think
it was a
another story, Hector. Remember when we used to go to that Korean lady off that BBQs,
barbecue express. Yeah.
and Bubba wasn't allowed in there?
Yeah.
Like, kind of think about it, man. That place didn't have a good grade, huh? She probably like,
It went from between a B and a C. The place doesn't exist no more, but multiple times me and Ernie saw her drop the spatula and just like look around like, oh fuck. Just
everybody. Hey,
pick it
but
up and continue cooking.
you couldn't be like a 2.99 or 3.99
Oh
combo.
no, dude. You gotta think about it. It was 250. I remember this because hear me out. It was 250 plus tax. So it came out to 270 and change. And you still had a quarter to go play Crazy Taxi next door. That's what I always say. Like it was less than $3, dude. And while you played Crazy Taxi, then you come back and your food was ready. And she gave a grip of fries. She only gave you 3 fucking ketchup packets,
Yeah,
but she gave you a grip
the
of fries.
potato to ketchup ratio,
What didn't make
it,
sense?
it doesn't make sense.
And
Damn.
That place was
That place
good.
was good. Heck, do you remember walking up and then we got hit up by those kids for
Yeah,
like
we
a
talked
like a
about it the last
12-year-old?
episode. Yeah,
Did we?
yeah.
Oh shit.
We were walking down Algier. No, what is it? Yeah, Algier. And the little kid came up, "What's up, homie? Where you from?"
Hey fool, hey fool, this is my street.
And we just kept walking. All
Uh,
right, man. All right, cool.
Thank you, man. May I have
Thank,
another?
thank you for protecting us, man. I appreciate it.
No, I think I was scared, man, because he had like something. You know,
A
who knows if it was
screwdriver.
real
It
or
was
not?
probably a screwdriver. It looked like.
Yeah, it was like that. I'm like,
It was.
I don't know, man. I like when I would go to parties, like now that we're older, like I would make like calculated like visits or like outings, right? Because some of these parties unfortunately ended like not very good,
Yeah,
like with the fight and some of these like gunshots, right? Like, and I would only feel comfortable if like you, Izzy, and not just you two would go actually, and Ernie. That's when I would feel like cool because there's a lot of people that I didn't know, and you guys knew a lot of people from like other schools, and I was just like, no, like if we're going to Fabian's, we'll go to Fabian's. Cabanas, we'll go to Cabanas. But now that I'm like this, like there's a lot of things that could have happened on Hector. Like
yeah.
now that you start looking at it, like
There's
the
sometimes you
type
put
of
yourself
decisions
in.
that we make or the type that the way that we're influenced. And I don't know. I was just thinking about that the other day too. Like
It can all
how
change
influenced are
suddenly.
we, right? Because when 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 I was in elementary, like I hung out with like thugs, right? Like in Voorhees, like the cholos. And at that point, like I was like, I don't think I want this, man. Like, and that's why I want to get to you, maybe ask you a question. Like I would just be like, no, like I don't. These guys were the tough guys, like the ones that in high school they ended up being like the tough ones, right? Like I respected them, but it was like if I would have stuck with that whole scene, like who knows what the outcome of my life would have been, you know? And then that's when I told myself like I have to get away from this, you know? Then I ended up going with like the Asians, the Filipinos, where we would play like basketball, like Joel and Kevin, and we just ball it up. And in high school, like I got lucky and I met up with you guys, like the baseball players. But you, like, I know you have friends on both sides, like people that are certain lifestyles and people that don't have certain lifestyles. Like, how did you find that balance of not getting the influence to get in there?
Um, I wish I had like a good answer and tell you like I separated my life completely. Like I compare what is the word? Compartmentalize. Fuck, I'm saying it wrong. But well, anyways,
Compartmentalize?
that's the word. No, like I could tell you like this was my life and this was life. Like no, sometimes they coincided. But I got fortunate in the same way like that I met you. I met them, just kind of like, hey, this is who I am and this is who they are. And we struck friendship in the things we had in common. Like, oh, you like fucking Tupac and Biggie? That's the shit I listen to. Oh, you like fucking sports and whatever? You like some bullshit ass comedy? Like, I don't know, what was the comedy at the time that we used to laugh at? Like 40-Year-Old Virgin and Superbad? Like, that's the shit so that's where our friendship struck. Like, oh, we could drink and kick it and all the gang affiliated shit. Not all the time, but it didn't happen around me. Just like when Ernie has a great story, like all these pictures is all gangsters, 501s and white tees, and then there's stupid ass Hector, which is full hawk, because I was still who I am around them. I didn't have to pretend to be a cholo to be their friend. I was just me, and that's why I guess I was able to like get a good look at, I guess, both sides of the track, because I didn't have to pretend to be one of them to be around them. I could just be myself, and so then when they would come around people and they'd be like, "Oh, these guys are gangster," like they didn't know the side that I knew, where they're just like us. They just dress and look differently. And I never felt like a need to try to impress them or try to do things to be um, accepted by them. I didn't have to do any shit
Did you
like,
ever feel like you would get not pressured, but like you ever feel like I have to do something or like would you ask like what are you guys gonna do?
no.
Like how would you separate yourself from like a kickback? Like this, and something a little bit more where you're probably on somebody's turf where your own life is in danger. You know what I mean? Like I picked my certain locations where I would go, right? Like I said, like, I would go to certain places where I knew, like, if I had to go home, like I would know which, like, how to get home. Like I stayed within maybe like two blocks, right? Either Maxon, either Elliott. Like that's when I felt like in my safe zone. And with you, man, like I don't know. It just gets you thinking, like what could have been, like at the wrong wrong spot at the wrong time in these situations where you put yourself in. You know what I mean?
I, looking back now as an adult, there was certainly circumstances where I could have made better decisions, but I don't feel like they ever put me in a bad situation. No, I was there by choice. Like they would invite me somewhere. It was on me to either go or not. So I can't be like, oh, well, they told me to go here. It was like, no, hey, this is going to be a party. And this is a fucking gangster party. We're going to be here fucking Friday. If you want to come through, bring your homies. We would go. It was not like, hey, you better be here and show up. It was just like, hey, man. Like if I would told you, hey, George, we're going to be at a fucking barbecue on Saturday. Come through. It's like, it's a friend
Yeah.
inviting you. So I would go. There were situations we got into that were, I guess you could say, I don't know, a little tricky, but that's happened with them, and that's happened with my casual friends, as they would call them, the casual cats. Like that happened on both sides. So what was the difference? And one time, one of my other friends made a great um, realization. He goes, "Who would you rather have on your side when shit goes down? These guys that are going to take care of you, or these guys over here that are going
They're
to take
gonna
care of
run.
themselves?" Yeah. And
Yeah,
so I never looked at
yeah.
it that way. Like, don't get me wrong, I never looked at it like, oh, these guys are my protector. They told me various times that, hey, you run into any issues, you come to me. You run
Okay.
into any issues. Not once did I go to them. Why? Because I felt I could handle my own, and I felt like, why am I going to put them in that situation to take care of something for me? And that's just my personal. I've seen other people go about it a different way, but it is something that I do get asked off the record, because a lot of people see the people I associated with in the past, and they're like, how do you tiptoe the line? I'm like, I don't tiptoe the line. The same person I am with you, George Vargas, is the same person I am with them. They know me as a funny, goofy fucking idiot that sometimes makes a good fucking, I don't know, comment or something that makes you think type shit. Like that's the same person I am. They don't judge. People give them the stereotypical judgmental thing. So the ones I associate with, at least the ones I know personally,
Yeah.
they don't judge because they know what it is to be judged. I've talked about it various times on this podcast. They're some of the best friends, best parents I've seen. They're there for you when you need them. They're there for you when you don't need them. They're not just there for you when they need you. So to me, it's been like, I, even families ask me, right? Like, I'm like, I never really thought about it because to me, it was just my friends. I didn't think nothing of it. It was
What
like
about
you
your
being,
parents? Did they ever
um,
say like, "Don, I want you hanging out with
they
those
never did
people"?
the whole, but they're just like, I trust your judgment. Like, what do you guys
Okay.
do? And I'm like, we're drinking at the homie's house. It's not like we're out in the fucking streets shooting at cars and shit, fucking robbing houses and shit. It's like if I go to George Vargas's house and have a couple beers with him, it's the same thing I'm doing, except that this guy has a bald head, carrying a gun, and he fucking whatever. So it's the same thing. It's just that when I leave your house, you're probably going to bed. When I left some other houses, they're probably going to go run amok. But it wasn't like, hey, come with me, we're going to do this. That's what I mean. Like, I've heard various stories about different people, but I can only say my story. I
Yeah.
never got. Sometimes they would even tell me, "Hey, you need to get out of here. Some shit's about to go down." Stuff like that. Where I was like, "What the fuck? I'm your homie. Like, dude, it's best you not be here." Like, okay, I respect that. Because they never pulled that card on me. So when they did, it was kind of like they should be taken seriously. And I mean, we're in different situations. I mean, some I could talk about, some I can't. There was lots of great times, man. Just like any friendship. Don't see these guys in 4 or 5 years, and the same thing. Fucking greet them with a big handshake and a big hug. Like, damn, dude, remember all the fucking times? Yeah, I remember this time. Dude. Like it was like any friendship. Sometimes you move apart not because of not wanting to be friends, just that some of them have kids of their own now. I have a child of my own now. I live an hour away, so when I come into them, it's like, dude, so good to see you. But it's not like, oh, hey, I'm 30 now. I can't associate with you guys. No, far
No.
from that. It's just that I live too far. I work too much. I have my daughter, so I just gotta, the same thing with them. So it's
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's one of the things, man. It's like the decisions we make, and sometimes they're for the good, sometimes they're for the bad, but like how influenced are we really, like do you make your own decisions, or do you go around with the beat of the drum, right?
they
But
taught me
I
a
mean,
lot, especially about the streets. A lot of times, people will be dogging you on the street. People, I've talked about it, like on at the restaurant, just be looking at you wrong, just like, what are you looking at? They'll look away. And I'm not big. I'm not fucking intimidating by any means. But they always tell me, dude, the dog that barks, don't bite. Like when he comes in all fucking whatever. I just, I mean, not now as a 31-year-old, but, in my 20s, late 20s, that's who I was, because I knew like I could spot him a mile away. Like this guy's all show, dude. He's a fucking pussy. Because I'd be around them when they would check somebody and you'd see this big ass fucking cholo tatted up, tatted on the face. And this guys my size would just look at him like, you ain't nothing but a bitch. And I would be like, hey man, I don't want no trouble. And you're like, what? And I was there firsthand. So it's not somebody telling me that story. I witnessed it. So when I became my little arrogant prick, I'd see people like that come in, dog everybody and shit. I just stare at them. And some of my friends would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, he's a bitch. And I'm not proud of that, but it's just what I always say, like, most of them, I don't want to get you shot either, people listening. Most of them, those people don't, they try to act tough for a reason. It's like they're not tough, so they want to look tough. So when you call them out on their shit, they fold. And there's a few that will stand up, and you will have to fight them, and you win some and
oh
you lose
shit,
some.
I was just fucking, I was just joking around with you, so no, just proceed, man.
You called me out on my bullshit. I'm just a pussy. I wanted to see if you were for reals. No, but
Hey, you
that's
passed my test. No, you good, you
you're
good, you
good. You're
passed my
good. Keep it
test.
going. But
Man.
but no, man, I have so many great stories. I've asked a few of them to come on here, and they've asked to do it anonymously or like off the record type thing, and I'm like, cool, because
Hey, I think those would be some good stuff, man. I think you get a lot of listeners, just kind of like distort the voice or something, man. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of stories that you can share. And I think I came into this one, you know, with you and I, we just within I like look, I don't have the Facebook app, but I just go on the website like here and there, and I got in your message, and I was like, you just hit me up today randomly, like let's get on. So I was like, you know what, like Hector's the one like does the questions and he kind of leads it. I was like, let's turn it around him. Like I was told that I would be in charge of this meeting, so that's why I've
oh
kind of been shooting you the
yeah,
questions of let's get to know Hector and
nah, I
not the
mean,
actual fans.
but I want to know about you. How you're doing and all that good stuff. Me is just like I I post on the social media. I post my bullshit opinions. People disagree. People agree. But we could conversate and learn from each other. I posted that Ku Klux Klan thing earlier today, and people were like, "That's the freedom of speech," and I completely agree. And they're like, "So what's the point of the post?" I'm like, "Well, what do you think should happen? Like, what do you think should happen?" I'm like, "If that was my employee, I'd fire them. I don't share those same beliefs, and I don't want that associated with my company. If that's my tenant, I'd see what I could do to get him out of my building. If that was a friend of
Get him out.
mine, he would no longer be a friend of mine. If he was, let's say, in my poker club, my whiskey club, my bowling, whatever, like I don't want to be associated with those people. So yeah, you have your freedom of speech. If you want to use your speech for hate, that's not what I want." And then like they just kind of like, you make a valid point, but I don't think that's where I got the whole legality as far as being able to evict somebody. Like, okay, I won't renew your lease. Like I can make a bullshit as excuse. Like we're gonna what's it called, like refurnish, and then the price is gonna whatever they
Whatever,
do.
right?
So I was like, that's besides the point. What I'm saying is, you cannot do these things and expect no repercussions. And I feel like I'm not, like I say all the time, I'm not trying to influence people, but just give you that perspective. Like I agree with his freedom to do whatever the fuck he wants. I could go outside tomorrow and wear a Mexican Ku Klux Klan type mask. What type of hate would I get in Huntington Beach? Like, this is America, yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah. Like
Depends
that.
where you were, Hector. Like
No,
if you
that
do it in Armani, you'll get the love.
true. But I mean, he did it in San Diego, and that's a predominantly white uh, city. But
Cheers, man.
salucita.
Go, clean. How's David doing? I know you had him on an episode, but I haven't heard him. How's he doing?
He's good. He's still working. He
Is he on that HD supply thing still with Izzy?
he left for like 6 years and he just went back
Or
to
he went back?
yeah. So he's
Damn,
good. I
that's
think he's like
tight, dude.
he's like second or third in command of the whole store already. He's only been there like
Oh
6 7
shit.
months, so he's doing really
Damn,
good.
that's good for him, man.
Yeah, he's living it up. He's living it up. He just lost like 80 pounds.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's about to
Why?
turn.
Why is he
Uh,
being healthy?
I don't know. I think he just wanted to change in his life, and the
Damn,
whole
that's
like
crazy.
he's about to
What
turn
about your parents, man?
30.
How's your mom? You look just like your mom, by the way.
Do I? Thank you. She's
Yeah,
beautiful.
you look just like your mom. I don't really see your dad.
Yeah, it's crazy because everybody says I look just like my dad.
Nah, you have your mom.
My dad looks young as
Nah,
fuck.
you're definitely your mom.
My dad's
Except that hair,
54.
man. I don't know.
This
I
is my
don't know where
dad's
that
hair.
hair is from.
My dad. But no, they're good. They're good. They're staying positive. My dad took 5 weeks off as well.
Your dad took 5 weeks off as well.
Yeah, and so
And
they're
30 million people without jobs
yeah,
filed for
and
unemployment. 30 million. And that's just the people that qualify, right? What about the other ones that
yeah.
don't
I don't
qualify?
qualify. That's what I'm saying.
So
And not to make it a
what
me
is the real
story.
number,
Um,
right?
Myself, I 6 weeks without income now by this Friday. Um, it is what it is. There's other people that need it more. There's other people struggling. Fortunately, I still have money to pay for whatever my daughter needs and whatnot. And there's other people that I was living direct deposit to direct deposit, but there was other people not even paycheck to paycheck, fucking borrowing money and they'll pay it back on when they get paid on Friday. So it could always be worse. So I'm thankful for still being able to go about this shit, because it could be worse. And I am grateful for
Yeah, but I don't know, man. It's tough because like you're being positive and that's like respectful, but at what point is enough where you're part of one of those people out there that are rioting to get the economy back up,
um
right? Like what's the people that are out there, like they've probably hit that boiling point. They probably hit that cabin fever. They're like, we need to get going back. And I think at this point, like, what's your breaking point to the point where like I can't do this? I have to get back out there. Like I have no choice.
to me, I've thought about it and not saying that's where the breaking point is, but I say if my daughter doesn't have food, I have to figure something out. Doesn't matter what it is, but if she's good, I'm good. So as long as that's taken care of, shelter, food, I mean everything else. I've been in debt before, I've been jobless. I've been fucking without hope. So I'm like, this isn't the first rodeo. Like I'm not a quitter. I think I mean I haven't quit yet. So I gotta. I honestly have. I mean, sometimes it doesn't sound like it on my post and shit, but I have the utmost confidence in myself. So I'm like, I'll be fine. Like
Yeah,
I worry
that's
more for
something you
others.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
No, that's
about
true,
you?
man.
How's your family? How's your
Good. I think well, I got sick
did you?
and I feel like 75% I might have caught it. And at first, like I had gotten home and I just felt like just achy, you know? So this was on a Monday. Like I just woke up like my whole body was just achy. My eyes were hurting to the point where like I couldn't move them and I'm just like, all right, cool. Like I ended up calling work and I called out for the day. And then I was just like, no, like I think this is more than that. And then the next day I woke up and like fortunately for me, like I didn't have like the shortness of breath. I didn't have the fever, nor I didn't have like the what is it, the chills.
Mm.
But 2 days later, like I just couldn't smell for shit. Like I couldn't taste or smell at all. And I was just like, and that's when CNN and the CDC had just mentioned like, at this point, like loss of smell is one of these symptoms, like aches, loss of smell. So I quarantined myself. I quarantined myself for 3 weeks, right? The
Oh,
CDC said 14 days, but I did it for 21 days where I did not leave that room for shit. Maybe just to go to the restroom. And the food would literally get dropped off at my door. Like I felt like, yeah, I don't know, it was crazy. But The thing that worried me the most is that my little brother has like chronic asthma, so that's
Mhm.
why I made this decision. Um, but I'm just glad that I if this is what it is that I had, and I feel certain that I did, then I'm one of the lucky ones, right? And not one
Yeah.
of the 68,000 that weren't so lucky and they're impacted. But I'm fortunate enough to also work from home. Like I was able to pick up my gear, my material, or my equipment, and be able to work from home. But even to this day, like I just feel, as I'm saying, like that's why I ask you, like, are you ready to go back out there? Because I feel like I'm part of the ones that are not ready to go back out there. Like literally, I went to Target yesterday and I felt like I was Barry Sanders dodging everybody through the fucking aisles at Target. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you've gone out, but do you feel like things? It's gonna take a while before she gets back to normal. Like mass is gonna be part of the thing, but like, what's your take on it? Like, have you gone out? Like, have you been able to go out? And when you walk by somebody, do you have that fear? Because I have it. Like I was going through like the kids section. I was going through the bra section, and shit like that. Like,
Stay away from people.
yeah, you
Um,
avoid shit.
so I went to Target 2 weeks ago, 2 Sundays ago, because I ran out of dog food. And so I waited, they close at 9. So I left here to get there by 8:30 so that, it was be closing time and there'd be less people in there. So, I took that into account. Um, went in, the same thing you said, I have, not that I was prepared, but I had all those things, I had gloves, masks, all that. Not the N95s. People are gonna be like, "Oh, you should have donated not those," but I just mean masks, like in general to cover. We do a lot of yard work here, so cover the face, cover the head, and then gloves. We always have gloves. Just I don't know why we've always had gloves,
Like the
and
blue ones, like the medical gloves.
not the medical ones, more like restaurant gloves, because that's where
Oh,
I get
okay.
them at the restaurant stores. And so like I would take, and I knew the whole precautions, wear put a gloves, get inside, pay, take them off, and then fucking put new ones as you get into your car and all that good stuff. So I did take my precautions. I was whatever, and it was just a trip because there was so many people that were like going about it, whatever. Like I'm not saying you have to fucking live a boring ass life, but they're like, don't be grabbing a bunch of things. If you want hot pockets, grab the hot pockets. Don't be grabbing like the Tostinos and the fucking Tony's pizza and whatever. And that's what I saw a lot of. I was like, maybe because I was looking for it, and I was just like, damn, people, like, I got to be more careful. Excuse me, because people aren't being careful. And then I mentioned this before. There's somebody walked in without a mask, and at that point, this was like 2 weeks ago. There was nobody at the door or nothing, so he was just walking in, and everybody was like, "Yo, yo, yo, like you gotta have a mask on." He's like, "I'm just gonna get something real quick," and everybody was kind of like keeping their distance. And then this weekend, when I went to go put gas to go pick up my daughter, this guy was making a big deal, and I was like, I left my phone in the car. I wouldn't have even recorded, but he was like, "What do you mean I can't come in without my mask?" Dude, I'm just gonna be in there for a second, guys. I'm sorry. You gotta have a mask. It's Riverside County policy. He's like, oh my god, and he walked away. And I thought he was gonna leave, right? Because there was like 5 of us waiting. They only allow one person in the store at the gas station out here.
Inside. Okay.
Yeah, it takes forever, dude. It takes forever. Same thing. I went like at 9 p.m. This dude walked to his car and came back. So it's not like he didn't want to wear it. He just wanted. I mean, it's not like he didn't have it. Like he
He was
just didn't
lazy.
want. Yeah, he just didn't want to wear it. Like, oh, I don't need to.
Yeah.
And so as far as for me, last weekend, no, I'm lying. 2 weeks ago when I got my dog, I noticed he was getting fat. I was like, dude, I'm thick, and this was thick, like it's thick boy summer, but we need to do something about it. Like, so I started running with him like 6, 7 p.m. And granted, out here it's not like out there. Yes, there's less people. Yes, but there's people jogging. There's people walking all the time. 2 weeks ago, it was fucking dead. Granted, it was like 98 degrees, so I waited till like 7 p.m. to go start running.
Till it was 95.
Yeah, and slowly, like the last week or so, I've been running into more people jogging, running, fucking walking their dogs on bikes, and everybody the same thing. Like there's big sidewalks, I guess, so people will walk up like the embankment to give you
On
your
the
six
street.
feet. Yeah,
Okay.
as you
Yeah.
pass by, so they're respecting it. So I kind of see that, and just as far as traffic, I've noticed like the last 10 days, there's been so much more traffic because
Yeah.
2, 3 weeks ago, dude, there was no cars on the streets. There was no cars. Like it's dead out here. I get it. People are gonna say you live in the middle of nowhere. Like, no, dude. But it's an industrial area. There's a bunch. It's a booming economy out here. And there was just no cars on the streets, which is crazy, dude. Like think about Valley, because I live right next to the valley of out here. Imagine
Okay.
Valley just being dead and deserted. Like that's unheard of. Like they have like taco vendors, they have fucking pupusa vendors. So imagine all those trucks on Valley all not being there because nobody's out on the streets. As of right now, there's still no fucking food vendors because I went running earlier. So it's like a weird transition as people are like, I get it, the whole going back to normal, but I think like out here it was hit hard. It was hit hard, and so I
Let me
think like
ask you something, Hector.
yes, sir.
Have you? And I think that's why some of us, and that's what it is. Like, do you know anybody that was impacted by it? Do you have a friend
I was
or
actually going to
anyone
talk
that
about
has?
this. I was going to bring this up somehow in this episode because I just figured we talk COVID. I didn't up until yesterday morning, where this will be episode 31. So for those of you listening, George Vargas, 31. Episode 26, Fabian Ojeda. He just posted.
Yeah.
I hope I can share because I'm saying it, but because people ask me, do you know anyone? He just posted yesterday that him and his whole family had corona. And the crazy
Oh
thing is,
shit.
like 2, 3 days prior to that, he was just putting like, "Oh, what the hell, dude!" Like, first it's a fucking like I don't
Was
remember
what?
his post. I don't hold on.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
remember his post verbatim, but at
Uh
first
huh.
he put like, first it was fucking hot. Now yada yada. Now I got to deal with the sickness. And he was, I'm gonna knock out because he was the first guy I talked about on his episode. He was the first person I seen that put day one of quarantine, and he put his update. Day two of quarantine. Pretty funny shit, but like, and so I've been not keeping up with him. When I log on, I see what he's posted and shit. And 2 days ago, 3 days, no, I'm sorry, like 4 or 5 days ago, he started posting like, oh man, I'm just feeling like shit all day. Just gonna go back to sleep. I think today's Saturday. I'm gonna go back to bed. And then yesterday he put, so it's official. Me and my whole family have corona. We're all doing better, and we'll all be all right. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like I didn't know anybody up until that point, and that's a confirmed case. And fucking 3 episodes he was on 2 weeks ago. And so then now you say it. I think I might have had it. So does my brother. I was running at 2, 3 in the morning every day.
Uh huh.
And then out of nowhere, I just, do you know me? I work every day nonstop, no whatever.
Yeah,
Fucking,
you hustle, man.
I took like 5 days off of work. I didn't take my daughter back in time. I was fucking sick for like and that's the thing, when you work to survive, as soon as I
There's
felt
no
good
days
enough,
off.
I went back to work. And my coworkers were like, what the hell? You took fucking a nice vacation because it just so happened I had Saturday, Sunday off. So I took Friday and then Monday off. So I had 4 days off. They're like, where do you go? I was like, dude, I was just in bed. It sucked because I had my daughter that weekend. All we did was just, she was with my parents because I was just fucking dying. And this was early February. So nobody, I mean, I never assumed corona. And then my brother got sick the same shit. And he missed like 4 days of work as well. And then when corona started popping off, we were like, what were your symptoms? And he goes, I know. And I was like, what do
I
you,
checked those.
no, he's like, dude,
That's what
it's
I'm
a trip.
saying.
No.
Yeah,
So it was like
you're
I
right.
don't want to be like, hey, I had it already. But the thing is, I went back to work those 2 weeks. Like well, I should have been quarantined. I didn't know anything of it. Not like that. I knew of it in China and shit, but I didn't know it was like here or anything like that. Maybe I put some people in danger unwillingly and unknowingly because I deal with people all fucking day, by the hundreds, literally by the hundreds. I interact with so many people and I work 6, 7 days a week, 5, 6, 7 days a week. So who knows? Maybe it was just a really, 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 really bad flu, fever, fucking all the symptoms combined at
Yeah.
once type shit where it was just like, no, it was just a fucking
A lot of stories are saying that some people had it since December.
like herd immunity or
So
whatever.
at that point, like, who knows? Like, I think unless we get the antibody test to see if we actually got it,
Yeah.
then there's a lot of people. I mean, I work at a call center, so fortunately, like, we all no one like really expanded. But back in December, like flu season, right? Like you worked in a closed place. Like some people got sick, but who knows what it was, right? Like how quick it got here. Like it's just some people were fucking almost dying, but this was before we even had a case here, or we
Yeah.
thought we didn't have a case here. But who knows, right?
Who
But that's
knows?
one of the things. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like the people that are going out, or the people that like don't take this serious, they probably don't know anybody that's been impacted
Yeah.
until you meet somebody that one is like was at their deathbed, or two, you meet somebody that had somebody pass away, and that's when it should hit you hard. Like we're not ready to open. Like Hector, we're ready to open on Friday,
I
supposedly
know.
phase 2,
Yeah.
right? Like
And that's
what's gonna happen? Like technically, you work in restaurant, right?
yeah.
You can technically go back, but I think this fear that either the media is putting on us, or the fact that we don't have the fear because we haven't met anybody that's impacted us. Like there's no knowing. Like it's a flip of a coin at the end of the day.
Now, and I think this will do good in the sense that not a lot of people, don't get me wrong, it's not like fucking Joe Rogan numbers. I'm not stupid either, but there's a lot of people listening, especially right now, especially with you coming back on. They're going to come and listen to this episode. And you're going to be
Hey,
able
this was in a comedy episode, but if Hector has me on for a third time, I will come with material.
to
But this was literally like again,
last minute.
I
Yeah.
was I was more than happy to go on just to talk to Hector and
Likewise.
support his podcast. You know, maybe you guys agree with their conversation, maybe you don't, maybe you like it. But right now, it's just you guys get to see a different side of me that it's just not jokes, right? Like
And,
just a normal conversation between two buddies.
and it's what I always say. We're all like onions, dude. There's many layers to us. And when you cut us, we cry. But,
Because we cry and possibly die too if you cut
yeah.
us.
No, and like he was episode 26, so I know a lot of people heard his episode, but he'll talk about it. Me and him talk Corona, and just like I think he asked me, as a matter of fact, do you know anybody affected? I was like, no, I've had people reach out to me, like people, different things. I'd rather not talk about that, the Corona. Yada. I was like, I'm not sure if I want to. I mean, I have no agenda, but I don't want to talk about conspiracy theories like that. The 5G and shit. Like, I don't think that would make a. That's not what I want to. I'm not here to be a fucking. I don't debate. And you want to debate me on fucking Corona 5G? Like, let's save the audience from that bullshit. Let's save. I'm not an expert. What if this guy beats me in a debate and people come away thinking that their fucking 5G is giving them Corona because I couldn't
Dude,
fucking
those
come
things
up
are
with.
crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'd rather just kind
That's a different conversation.
of.
Man, I don't know. It's whatever, man. So what do you think about UFC opening up first, and then maybe baseball playing at spring training facilities? Um, do you think sports will get back soon, or is that something that you don't? Because the NBA commissioner said that he doesn't want to test everybody. I don't know if you saw that article saying
Mm-mm.
not all players should be tested or something like that.
That's crazy. They have the money for it. Like they
What's that?
they have the money for it. I don't see what the issue would
I
be
don't know. I have seen it, and then I think there's an event coming up this weekend, right, or the next weekend for
for the
UFC.
UFC. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. So I was gonna say I'm a hypocrite because I feel like they should wait, but they're a business, multi-billion-dollar business, and they're losing money. They're not gonna make any money on tickets, so they're expecting a bunch of people to buy the pay-per-view. Does that make sense to me? No. Have I ever ran a multi-billion-dollar corporation? No. So I can't make that same judgment. To me, it's like all you need is one person to get it. And I get it. The percentages of somebody getting it are significantly low if they're all tested before and all that. If they get it, the risk is low that they die. But if they were to die, like how would that just shut down everything for the remainder of the year? Like, nope. Because how do you tell your player, hey, you might die, you know, for basketball or football or whatever it may be? And I get it. Thursday, they're releasing the NFL schedule. So I feel like that train has left the station. It's going to open. Do I agree with it? No. But at the same time, just the way I, kind of thinking like, fuck, what am I going to do in 2 weeks for money? These guys get paid per week. Yeah, their check is a lot bigger than mine, but they have higher expenditures as well. if they're waiting for that
That's true. You're right.
$100,000 check for the week, they're like, dude, open this bitch up. I'm about to lose my house. I'm about to lose whatever, my car, whatever.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
put yourself in their situation. And then as far as the fans, like they're saying there might be no fans in attendance for a long time. It's for the
It'll be a
best.
while before fans get there.
And the
But I think
UFC,
that this event might break some records for pay-per-view sales.
yeah, so people want
Think about
something. Yeah,
that's something for it's like we finally have some sort of sports on now, and this is what they're taking advantage. Did you read this article about the Trolls movie?
yeah,
The Trolls
100
movie
million.
made like 100 million or something like
Yeah,
that, and movie theaters are upset
yeah.
because DreamWorks or whatever company made Trolls
Universal, they're
is
not going to
doing
carry
that.
any Universal movies anymore.
So
The
this
new
can
norm.
possibly be the new norm,
Yeah, and
where they film it and they go straight to that. I think I like Disney. I personally like Disney. Like I just like their movies, and the fact that they put out their movies really quickly on the streaming service, you feel like you're getting your money's worth off their services.
of
But
Disney Plus.
moving into the new, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's gonna happen? Like, I think even months from now, like if we're all healthy and we're good, people are still gonna be very hesitant to socialize. Some people don't, but I don't know. I think when Georgia opened up, I was legit expecting like a spike, like a spike in deaths, like beyond like super super. But I haven't seen anything
It
as
takes
far as
three
like the
weeks though.
supers.
It takes three
Yeah,
weeks,
you're right. It takes about to 14 days for you to get the
14
symptoms.
days, and then you don't die right away. You still take about 7 to 14 days. So that's what I was talking about today on Facebook. Um, what state was it? I can't remember the state, but they just reported like 1,000 new cases today, and that just coincides with Easter Sunday. 3
Easter
weeks.
Sunday.
It was 3 weeks ago.
And then what is this? The and what state that
I
the
wish I can remember, but just as far as people fucking, I saw it on social media, right? People fucking barbecuing, going to friends' houses and all that. It doesn't take a day for you to fucking have the symptoms and shit.
Yeah, that's true.
It's gonna take 2, 3
You're
weeks.
looking
So
at 14 days.
so
And you're
right
right. It
now,
makes you think because I was really stupid, man. Because once Disneyland said they were gonna close down, I went so I can get one more day out of that fucking shit. And I was very disappointed because the only reason I made this like calculated, not even calculated, but the only reason I went is because Disney was like, we have hand sanitizers every single place. I did not find one fucking station. But now that I forget March 16th, I'm sorry, I don't have the exact date. But from there, like there was a stupid move at the end of the day. Like it was one of the dumbest moves I've ever made.
well,
And
just to be fair, because you don't have social media and all that, I was not pushing it, but I was very vocal about like, dude, I don't think this is for real. Like, look at the death rate; it's fucking 0.02. Like no point, yeah, no 2%, not 0.02. And then for Izzy's bachelor party, we went off roading and shit with Alex, who had just come from Italy. And I was
oh
like,
shit.
yeah, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll be cool. I'll be whatever. Like, this is no biggie. And so on my way up there, I was still posting memes and shit. Like,
For
this is not a
Corona
big
or
deal.
what?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, dude, trip out.
You know what's crazy? Like you're right. Like I don't know if you have the Rollstar Hip Hop app or if you go on Rollstar,
I don't.
but they were showing footages back like in February and January of people dropping dead, and the hospitals how packed they were, and people like shaking, convulsing, a bunch of like crazy. You could probably still find it. But I saw the video and I went to the next hip hop. I went to the next big booty twerking. Like it was just like every day. Like you never thought like you never thought like it would come over here.
Yeah,
But like how you're saying, like you went out to his thing, like fuck it, you were posting memes about it, but
yeah.
we didn't know. But I
And
saw those videos from the beginning, like people standing on bus stops and just dropping. Maybe I'll send you the link after.
I
But
was
go back to your story, man. But you're right. I know what it is. We didn't pay attention to it.
came back on Monday, and I was still kind of like, I always prepare, so I took an extra day off Monday to go back to work Tuesday. and I don't know what I posted or I shared or something. And Izzy and Philip called me out like, dude, what the fuck? Like, yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, huh. Coming from these two people, it means more, like I love these guys. I trust these guys. Let me look into this. And I had
Izzy,
nothing to do.
his political stands, right?
Yeah. Him and
Yeah,
Philip, who I
Izzy, I
love.
like him.
Love both
Oh,
of them.
Philip too. Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah,
So,
him. They're just very like I don't know. They're well spoken. Like they don't talk out of their ass. Like I feel like
yeah.
like I like let's say I brought up the whole Corona and Trump. Like I'm going based off like minimal stuff, but these guys like they can probably hold their own like for real talk, real
Well,
politics, man.
you've done
So
great. I
that's
don't, I mean, I don't know much either. So, I think we've held our own in this. We're not trying to inform people. We're not CNN and shit. We're just two buddies catching up, and this is the topic at hand.
yeah, because this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Current events.
Current events. There
The
you go,
guy from
fuckers.
Brazil said that the coronavirus is a fantasy. It's a
Yeah.
minor flu, and
And
there's
then
a
he died.
hundred thousand cases.
And then he died, right? Didn't one of, and then
I don't know if he died or not. But back
the
to your story, man,
w-
with Izzy.
one of the pastors kept holding mass like in Texas or some shit, Oklahoma, and then he died from corona. Like these things happen. Okay, but anyways, so I was like, okay, I'm off. Let me look into this, and I was going off numbers, right? But then the numbers started changing because, like I said, it takes 2-3 weeks for it to not just be diagnosed, but then before you die, another 2-3 weeks. So then the numbers just started going up, and I was like, well, what the fuck? Now the death rate is 3%, or three times. I mean, so it was like 6%. And I said, well, that's a lot of deaths. But it wasn't that it was 6%. It was just that day, 6% of the people with corona were dying because all the people that had been diagnosed weren't dying initially, but now they were. So just as the numbers changed, so did my opinion. So I was like, you know what? I was wrong. And I made so many posts, dude. I actually had to put a, hey guys, I was wrong. Roast me, do whatever you
What?
want. Yeah, dude. Because dude, I was out there like, dude, this is bullshit. And the thing is, the thing people forget is I put a poll on the podcast page and I put a poll on my personal page, like, is this shit real or not? And dude,
People
both of them
said
were
no.
like, everybody was like 90% was bullshit. Like, this is not real. And yet when I came out saying, hey guys, I was wrong, everybody was like, you fucking idiot. See, that's why you shouldn't talk out of your head. Like, I was like, motherfucker. Like, I'm pretty sure you voted on this shit too. Anyways, besides the point. But
Now
yeah.
let me
So I
ask you
had an
something.
issue like, hey, I was wrong. So take this seriously, please, because I was very, very wrong. And I don't want you to die in an unnecessary death.
Now with this, do you feel like it was? Do you feel like you felt like this is bullshit because
Uh,
of the non-media or the fact that Trump said this is going to be minimum, or the fact that
no,
that
okay.
Dr. Oz said, you know what, this is going to be your general flu, or Dr. Drew said, don't worry about it. Is it because of that
No,
people were saying bullshit,
no. I was
or
saying, because I was saying it
what
because
made you
based off,
think that it wasn't that?
not to use the word research. I said I wasn't going to use the word research anymore, but doing my own background info checks and shit like that on both sides, right? I was like, dude, 2% of the people are dying. 2% of the people are dying. Like, this is low death rate. Like, this is nothing. But then the thing that what I always go back to is that's the death rate if you have every person that's sick in a hospital bed with a ventilator getting all the help they can. When you have 60 people in the lobby that are just dying because they can't get any help, that's when the death rate jumps. So that's when I said it's not about the death rate, it's about flattening the curve. And you could see my poll. I don't know if they're still up, but so, not to give myself a cop out, I said that time and I was very wrong, and I'll admit I was very wrong. But that's why I said, like, it's about flattening the curve. I still get invited to do shit, barbecues and when I'm just like, hey, no, people have told me, hey, come over for a beer. I'm like, no, doing this quarantine thing. I keep my interactions to a minimum. And for the first 2 weeks, I did not leave the house. Like, I slowly, pick up my daughter, fucking grocery shopping, things like that, but all with very, very high precautions as far as like anything I could do.
I don't think I hung out with anybody. I just barely saw my girl like yesterday, and this was literally after like 6 weeks of not seeing her. Because at this point, like I don't know, I think that's why again I haven't met anybody that's been impacted, but this is probably why we're still standing right now, right? Because of the decisions that we're making,
Yeah.
the following the orders. Like
And
even if it's opening up on Friday, like I'm extremely hesitant to even go out,
yeah, same.
right?
We were talking about that earlier. I said at the earliest, I'm taking it week by week. As I mentioned before, I'm taking it week by week. Come weekend, I'll reconsider, because if all these cases that were just reported this week, these last 2-3 days, are from Easter, then in the next 3 to 7 days, some more people should start dying. You get me? That's just the way it is. So if it starts skyrocketing because all these people were going, and think about it. Last week, people were at the beach before they were closed down again. That takes 2-3 weeks. So it's
So
almost like
next week we'll find out whether it's
yeah,
spiked, right? Like the Wisconsin election, right?
yes,
Like
sir.
it was like 23 people were infected, like by that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
We're not
so
ready, man. I don't.
I'm
This is
just
like
like,
it feels like the Twilight Zone shit. It feels like it's so surreal. Like when Kobe passed away, what were you doing when Kobe passed away? Did you get the TMZ notification?
no, I, it was a Sunday and I had my daughter here. So we were getting ready to go to the mall because we were going to go to Jumpin' Jam and Chuck E. Cheese and watch a movie. Like I try to stay busy with her. Like this was BC,
Yeah,
before Corona. And so I was taking a shit and I was on Instagram and I just saw like rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. And I was like, what? So I went on to like NBA, ESPN, Sports
nothing,
Center. There was nothing.
nothing, huh?
And so
Just
then I went,
TMZ.
no, I looked up like Kobe dead, nothing. Kobe prank, nothing. So then I was like, who did I see that from? Who did I see that from? Like tripping, like who posted that? And so by the time I got onto Instagram, everybody was like blowing it up, like Kobe rest in peace, Kobe rest in peace, Kobe. And then so I saw somebody screenshot like the TMZ thing, and I went onto Google and TMZ fucking Kobe Bryant dead, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, and it said confirmed, like I was like these fuckers
Yeah,
are never wrong. And then I turned on the TV. I had to go wake up my brother. Like I went upstairs and I called my younger brother and I was like, hey dude, is that what happened? I was like, Kobe passed away. I was teary eyed. And he's like, nah. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I'll be downstairs in a minute. And then I turned on the NBA network and they were talking about it, like fucking, and little by little things started coming out, bunch of
yeah.
stories, bunch of conspiracy theories, bunch of fucking the
Did you hear
driver.
that story that he was assassinated? Did you
No,
hear that conspiracy theory?
no.
Google reported him as a day of assassination.
Oh yeah.
Like when you were to look up not Kobe's death, but his day, they were quoted as an assassination. After this podcast, I'll go ahead and send you that YouTube of this guy on. He's I think he came out like on The Sopranos. He's like an Italian guy. He's a little chunky guy, Italian guy. Joe, no, not Joe, Tony, I forget. But he has somebody that's a guest, and he talks about a whole bunch of conspiracies about Kobe, like that it was truly an assassination. Like who the hell would have flown on weather like that when LA City County and the police department, no one was flying except him. So this is a very good conspiracy theory that gets you thinking.
I never. I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, man. You're gonna you're gonna you're gonna see things a little bit differently, right? I mean, we like to think that it's an accident, but once you see this one, it's uh, like the magic bullet kind of type of thing.
Where were
But I
you?
remember,
What were you
huh?
going? Where were you?
I
What were
was doing
you?
my bed. I probably had woken up and I was doing my bed and I had the TMZ app and I see Kobe Bryant and I open it up and it says Kobe Bryant dead. And I took a screenshot of it and I posted it on Facebook and like literally has like 0 minutes like that it was just posted. Like I literally took a screenshot on the spot and I was like, no, no, no. Hector, my heart dropped, dude, like I felt gross. Like I felt so
Yeah,
fucking that sucked, man.
it sucked.
And I messaged my brother, and no one was reporting it. Nobody was reporting it except TMZ was the only one that reported it at that time. Then I remember because I was like, nah, this isn't true. And then I'm driving, and then they're saying, oh, it was just Kobe and a few people. And then I was on my way to Torrance, and then no, his daughters was with him. I don't know. This is somebody
Yeah.
that like it really hit. Like
Yeah.
I haven't
I'm,
even seen his funeral special, like the one that had at Staples Center.
yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
can't watch it. And then this past episode of The Last Dance, I
I
don't know
did see it.
if you've been watching it.
I haven't seen it. Not I've seen The Last Dance, but not this one with Kobe.
Yeah, like the
For the
first
same
few
reason.
minutes is
Yeah. No, I said I was giving it some
yeah.
time, let it marinate because I actually did an
But
episode, number 24, Dear Kobe. The
yeah,
day
I heard that one.
the
Yeah.
day after I was
Were you
driving.
driving in that episode?
Yeah, I was driving home.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
heard
after
it.
work. Because the day of, how do I, I already told my daughter we're gonna do this, this, and this. So it's just kind of like we were, we went about our day. I was just like my mind was elsewhere, but I don't get her all the time, so I had to make the most of the time with her. And kid you not, I heard My Way. I don't know if it was on purpose, but I heard My Way at
The Frank Sinatra?
yeah, at Jumpin' Jammin'. I heard it
Yeah.
at the
Good old Blue
coffee
Eye.
shop we went to, and then at the movies. And so, just like crazy. And I log onto Facebook, just kind of because I had put like a fuck, dude, this one hurts, in the morning.
Yeah.
And some random ass page I follow had made like a Frank Sinatra um,
Tribute.
tribute, like with the song,
Yeah.
right, to Kobe's highlights. And so I screen saved it, and and since been deleted because of copyright infringement. But
Oh
luckily, I
fuck.
posted it on my Instagram, and it's still there. Like it's cut up into 6 pieces. And dude, like
Okay.
I got
You want
home,
me to
and
report you after?
yeah, feel free. I'm actually blocked right now. I got too many likes and followers that I think they seriously they think I have what did it
This
say?
bot?
Yeah, it said like, oh, if you use a third party application to get followers, like you will
Are
be
you
fucking.
liking people or people are liking you?
People are liking me.
Your podcast or
Yeah,
your
the
personal
podcast
page?
podcast.
Because your personal page wouldn't get that
It's
many likes,
blocked. Yeah,
Hector.
it's blocked. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
of course
people
not.
don't really like you that
People don't.
much.
Yeah, I know. And dude,
No
people
one
don't even
follows
know.
you.
A lot of people don't know who fucking hosts this shit, which is beautiful. So,
Yeah, that's tight, man. Congrats.
oh, thank you. But it sucks, dude. I just wanted to fucking post something today for the podcast. But anyways,
So they
so
have you blocked so you can't post or do anything?
I could post stories. So I put on my story like, "Yo, I can't post shit.
I've been banned,
I've been
but they
banned. I've
can't
been a
keep me
bad
down.
boy. Been a bad
Man,
boy."
that's crazy.
That's
PayPal
from
has me banned because somebody by the same name as me is wanted for by the FBI.
what has you banned?
Huh?
What has you banned? You said something has
PayPal.
you. Oh, PayPal. PayPal.
PayPal has me banned, Hector. I'm
Damn.
telling you, somebody by my name has me banned. So whenever I travel, I get put in the room and I have to go through
Oh,
like a security screening every
yeah.
fucking time.
You know, we should ask them for
And that's
next
why
time.
I don't travel internationally as much. Last time I went to Cancun, it wasn't too bad because I came back. But the other time, like I came back and they were like, "Please come with me," and I'm like, oh, "Okay, okay,
You know,
cool." So they put me in a room with a bunch of like I don't know criminals or I don't know what it is,
you know
and they
what?
asked me questions. What's up?
I've actually read about this. Next time, you should write out a template, right? Like, hey, my name is George Vargas, yada yada yada. I have been detained, blah blah blah, because of mistaken identity. Can you please sign this? And it'll say like whatever his name is, his badge, and say it's fucking TSA and the date.
Uh huh.
And so next time you give it to whoever, like, look, this happens all the time. I am not that person. Check out this code or whatever. I've read about that on Reddit actually, because it happens to people. There's a lot of people out there with your
With
name.
fraud, huh?
Mhm.
With fraud, huh?
Yeah.
Like people that are wanted. I don't know. I hate it. I hate it, and it's just I'm a wanted man,
Was
unfortunately, Hector.
yeah. Two of
But
America's most
do
wanted.
you like to travel? I mean,
I don't. I've
at
never.
least travel to other states.
I've only been out of state once. I do like it, but I just mean I never made the time for it. As I've gotten older, now I realize it's something I want to do. I want to take my daughter. I just showing her pictures of the Grand Canyon like a month ago, and she goes, "That's beautiful. Like we should go." And I was like, and she already knows. So she's like,
Yeah,
after the virus, I was like, yeah. So no,
you
that's
have to travel, man.
I I'm going to do it more. I'm not just going to say it. I'm going to do it because I just the food, the culture, the scenery. I want to see these things. Like I'm like we live in the greatest time to be alive. We have fucking automobiles, airplanes, boats, trains, and to not take advantage of that is kind of doing a disservice to our ancestors.
Yeah, What's the first place that you want to visit
I want to see the Grand
once it's
Canyon.
all over?
Oh, after this,
The Grand
oh,
Canyon.
well, realistically, I'm probably gonna go to the Chicken Bodega in Pico Rivera. That place is fucking bomb. Me and my daughter love it. Can't wait to go back. That's not
Does
a
she know
fucking.
what's going on with the world right now?
Well,
Like I know she's
she
like 4, right?
yeah,
4 or 5.
she's in advanced 4, but she's 4. She
Does
knows she's
she
not in
know
school no
like
more. Yeah, she doesn't go to the store. She knows she can't go to the park. She knows all of that, and
that's
so
good,
she just
man.
calls it the virus. Like, and her mom and I are still teaching her things at home. I'm doing what I can. She's doing what she can. It's a tricky spot because I read things like, oh, make sure they don't fall behind, but then I read things like, hey, this this pandemic we're going through, they're going through too, so don't be so hard on them. Let them be kids. So I'm like, what do we do, because this has never happened before. So how can I like keep her informed and educated, but at the same time allow her, she misses her friends, dude. Honestly, like I have her 3-4 days. 2 of those days she'll ask me like, when can I see my friends again? She's asked me if I could FaceTime with the mommies in her class so that she can see her friends on their phone. And I'm like, I don't have their
Damn, that's
number.
tight. And you don't have
I
their
don't have
numbers?
their numbers. Like I wasn't cool like that with them. And
Does
then
does does your does your baby mama have the numbers for any of the
no,
moms?
no, like it
No,
was
you tried already?
no. I just told her like, hey, have you reached out to any of the parents? Like, I don't talk to them like that. And I was like, me neither. Like I was just wondering. And she misses her teacher. She'll talk about like, oh, cause I was there all the time, right, in her class. She'll be like, remember when we did this? I'm like, yeah, that was so much fun. Can we do something like that? And I'm like, it's a group activity. And I'm like, oh, we could do it with us. And so I keep it entertained. We do karaoke, we do dance offs, we do talent shows, stimulate the brain. The last time I talked to her teacher, she just told me like, whatever you're doing is working. So just be involved, be there, be present.
When you pick her up, is do you take precautions with that as well?
Yeah,
Like, do you
yeah.
feel hesitant? Like, is her mom like gives you hand sanitizer? Like, did you wash your like? Do you know what I mean? Like in that situation where you're
Yeah.
picking it up when you drop her off, like what is your routine when you do something like that?
So I'll fill up the tank and I'll come home and shower, get everything ready, get a few um, pairs of gloves. Even though I'm in the car by myself and I just showered, I wear gloves all the way there. I get there, she brings her out. She has her mask on. I have my gloves. I'll change out these gloves, put on fresh gloves as soon as I start interacting with her. Put her in the car. We get home, we both shower, and I don't know what else we can do. And then we wash the clothes, we wash our masks. So I know some people will be like, "That's too much," but this is my daughter. I'm not going to risk her or my
Oh
family
yeah.
for anything. So, and the same thing when we're about to leave, we shower. So say we have it. Let's say I have the virus. I already gave it to her, so I could see that argument. Like, well, she already has it. She's going to pass it over there. But no, so she has a fresh set of clothes. I have a fresh set of clothes. Same thing. She wears, I've posted it on my social media. She wears gloves, a mask, her sunglasses. Sunglasses are just for that
Like
stilo, that look.
what's that one movie? Big Daddy, right? These
Yeah.
glasses give you confidence,
Yeah. And then she goes
right?
invisible and we play
Oh,
that
Invisible.
game.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
I can't
sorry,
see.
I
I'll be like,
forgot.
where are you? She's like, I'm right here. I'm right here. She doesn't even know about
Huh? What?
Big Daddy, but she knows that that's our thing.
You got to start up now, man.
And so it's tough on everybody. It's tough on everybody. My dog feels it, like, dude, let's go out. And, we can't, but it's just the new norm, like what is the new norm? Like, how are we going to adapt to this?
Once
People
you get
talking,
home from the store, what do you do?
uh, we put the things in the garage, unless the perishables, like in the fridge, and then we just leave them there for 2-3 days. Let
Do you
them,
sanitize them or what?
we just leave them in there. Everything we've read says 48 to 72 hours. So
The
just kind of,
fridge?
no, outside, like the non-perishables, like the veggies and all that. And as far as like
What about
the,
like boxes of cereal and shit like that? Like,
nobody
let's say
touches
you're
them.
gonna eat
No,
for how?
like we'll leave them there for 2-3 days in the garage. Usually more. Like I'm not sure if you could see. There's things there that haven't been touched. Like we just put it off to the side or in the garage. Like everybody knows not to touch them until they're in the pantry or whatever. Just because
Yeah, because different families have different things.
yeah,
Like
and that's the
here,
thing. I'll be fine, but it's my relatives that we're looking out for, and we don't want. That's what I always bring up. Like, would you be okay with saying, okay, well, I was going out barbecuing, the pool parties, and then insert family member here passed away from corona. Did they get it from you? Maybe, maybe not. But are you willing to take that risk? And I'm not. And let the fucking dominoes where they fall where they may. Might have been an overreaction, and I'm okay with living with that. Starting from scratch again won't be the first time. So I'm like, I've made my decision, and I'll be fine whatever the outcome is.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the type of shit that it's like will be written in books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And
This is
that's
the
what I
type of
said.
shit
Like,
that it's like,
I'm broke, George, and I don't
huh?
use this as a complaint. Like, I'm broke. Like, I'm like, that's cool. This was part of the plan, you know. So when I'm okay with being broke because that was I knew this going in. You know, it's not a surprise to me. Like I was like, okay, you have enough money for 6 weeks. This is week 6, so this is what was expected. So I was like, I'm okay. Like I know people reach out to me, be like, oh, anything I can do? Like, no, man, I'm good. I'm good. Good spirits, good health. That's all that matters.
But
My
that's
daughter.
what like, and I think I go back to Hector. Like, yeah, you know, you're under a certain circumstance, right? And I can't relate. You know, I have not been in that situation. You know, like I've been fortunate enough to go from one job to another and never be jobless. But I think, given your circumstance, like, when do you risk it all to get back on track? Like right now, okay, right now it's fine. And maybe you have loved ones that can let you borrow money, right? Whatever it is. But at one point, will you stop this, the streaming service? Like, when do you go hiatus? Like, you don't want to get to that point where you won't be able to bounce back. Even though
Um,
you've been there, when is your breaking point? You're going to
I,
have one.
I, fortunately, it's not on the horizon. You know, it's been thought about, but as I think things through now, at least to the best of my abilities, and I'm like, I've been frugal, so I could be more frugal. I have not bought anything other than dog food in the last yeah, last fucking 2 3 weeks. So I mean, I'm surviving but not thriving, you know, which is not what we want. So I'm saying if I made it this far, I could probably make it till June, and then I think that's a good idea of like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what needs to be done, and I'm not that guy. But there's a lot of people that owe me favors, that owe me things, and I've never called on them, you know, because I'm not that person. But if just the fact that I'm saying this kind of makes me already sound like a douchebag. Like, oh, I'm gonna start paying people. Like, hey, remember when I did this for you? And that's not who I am. But I just feel like if I were to be like, yo, man, remember when I helped you out with this? Do you think you could be able to help me out with this? I think some people would be willing to just because I've never asked them for anything, you know. But as of now, I'm like, I'll be okay. I was stressed last week. Don't get me wrong. Last week was the first time I went 2.5 days without sleeping. Like, I finally napped.
What's on your mind, Hector? Like, how am I
What
going
am
to
I
pay
gonna
the
do?
next bill?
Not really
Where
the
am I going to
bills.
go?
What am I gonna
Like,
do?
what's
Like
keeping you up?
everybody knows I'm an illegal immigrant, so it's not like I could just go. Amazon is hiring by the fucking buckload right now. They start at like $20 an hour right now. I
As
can't just go
drivers or sorters?
just orders warehouse. I can't go down the street. They like 5 minutes. I'll be at the front door. I can't go and ask for a job. I won't get a job. They do background checks. They have the fucking social security thing. Like that's everywhere out here. So that's what worries me. Like, okay, let's say in a month I say, okay, I'm ready to go out there. It's still probably gonna be like 2 3 weeks before I find a job. That's what's like. So do I start looking for a job now to have a job in 2 3 weeks?
But where do you find something right now where restaurants are closed?
Like,
So the best thing to do is wait for
uh,
phase 2 to open up, and then you look.
yeah, but
You're right,
so
Hector.
so it's
It's
like that's
tough.
why I'm not stressed because I say, okay, there's a quote I love and I hold dear is if you can control it, don't stress over it. You can control it. And if you can't control it, don't stress over it because it's out of your control. And that puts everything in there, right? You shouldn't worry about anything. So that's why. But last week, I don't know why. Maybe it was too much coffee. Maybe it was whatever. I could not sleep for the life of me. I went like, what was it, almost 72 hours without sleeping just because it was like every time I would lay down, it would instantly come back to me like, okay, don't be a dumbass. Like you're doing okay right now, but you need to make a decision. And I was like, that's why it's like, I was scared to make the decision to keep quarantine. And I was like, would I rather be broke or lose a loved one? It's simple. You know, when you simplify it like that, it's very simple. So I said, I'll keep doing this. I know a lot of people are going to disagree. A lot of people saying I'm overreacting, and that's fine. I'm not putting their fucking family member at risk. So I'm allowed to do what I want. If they, I'm not saying they are either. If they're taking their precautions, or if they don't think it's real, or if they don't want to, whatever, let them do what they want. That's the beauty of this country. I'm just saying, I've thought about it, I've talked it over, and this is what, in my mind, is not only the right decision, but the best decision for me and my family. It's tough, don't get me wrong, but I try to stay busy.
I mean, I don't know. Like for me, like I have anxiety, right? Like I'll have these random, and I don't know what triggers it. To be honest with you, I really don't know what triggers them. But I'll have this like sense of like doom, right? Like just this past Saturday, I had a panic attack, and all I was doing was just playing PlayStation. But I could only think what you're like. I don't know, man. It just you'll bounce back. Like you've
I'm
gone
sure.
30 years with
Fucking,
this, so you're making
it's
your own risk based on what you know, what you can do. So that's something you can't take it away. But for me, it's like I hope that you do get it as quickly as possible because when you have your friends, right, you hate to see them down. But right now, like I didn't know you weren't sleeping for some days. You
no,
know what I
dude,
mean?
that was last week.
But that's just one. But that's what happens next Monday
No,
it,
I've held it pretty
when it's
well. I
another
haven't,
week. You know what I mean?
maybe just because it was recently. Like, I wouldn't have brought it up unless it was like, I brought it up to Phil. Me and Phil did an episode that didn't save, but brought it up to Phil. I was just like, yeah, man, everything's good, but at the same time, I can't like lie to myself. I got to deal with reality, and that's the reality of the situation. I do what I can, and there's no doubt in my mind that it'll be fine. Like I'll be fine because I've come back from worse. So I'm like, this is just another hiccup, and thankfully, almost in a good way, like this isn't self-imposed. I didn't do something, and this is the punishment. Like this is just a lot of people in the same situation, and so they're gonna have to come out of it somehow or another. And maybe some of those people are fucking listening. So we're you're not alone. Like I don't feel like I'm alone. I know I got a great support group, great friends, great fucking listeners. I'll be like, I'll
But
be
you're
cool.
guaranteed to have 30 million people that are going through what you're going through.
Yeah.
That's just a number already. But you're right. All the other ones. Sorry, these are numbers that are not being calculated. You know what I mean? But you're staying positive. You're doing these podcasts. Keep busy
Podcast
on
is
that,
killing
man.
it.
Huh?
At least there's that. My
I mean,
daughter's
at least you
great,
have
my
that.
family's great, and the podcast is killing it. So hopefully, and
You have
that's what I
something
say.
right now, but just stay safe. That's all I
Yeah.
can really say, Hector.
Same to you, man. I'm good. I'm telling you,
I
I'm
would.
good. I'm in a good place. I'm in a good place mentally, which I think is most important. Like yeah, I'm telling you, we're human, dude. I was, I had just done a badass episode, and reality just hits sometimes. I was just like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do?
The elevator hits you. What you say?
Reality hits you. Like,
Oh, I thought I heard the elevator hits you.
no, I had just done an episode, as a matter of fact, on that Tuesday or on that Monday, and shit goes crazy. Like I was like, fuck, you don't think about it, and then you think about it for fucking 2 days. But no, I'm telling you, like I'm good. I really am good. I
Yeah.
appreciate your
All right.
concern.
I hope you are. Sorry, man. I'm out here. Something's biting me out here. Hector, you seen these murder hornets that are out?
Oh, dude, that's just what we need. It came from Asia, right? Am I wrong?
Like Japan or something like that, dude.
Like murder
They
hornets.
just uh,
That's
I don't know.
2020 for you.
Dude, that's 2020. Kobe, Australia. There's an
World
article
War
that went
Three.
out that the Niners losing the Super Bowl saved so many lives in Santa Clara or Clarita, wherever the hell they
Oh
fucking they
yeah.
play. Yeah, there's a whole article that said like bunch of people could have been spared because remember in California, the places that was hit the most that started here was
New
San
York and San
Francisco.
Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're saying like, by them losing, which we all got pleasure out of it. You know, they essentially lost a lot. They saved a lot of lives because the parade wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's good. That's good on that end.
That's crazy.
Sorry, man. I have a skin tag that just blew up on me.
Oh, I mean, this has been a pleasure. You said, Mr. 1 hour, we've almost done two. Do you want to wrap it up or you want to keep going a little longer? I know you probably still got
Yeah,
things to
my
do.
phone's dying, man.
Yeah, man.
I had a brightness on because I'm out here outside, so I don't have it plugged in and I don't have the abilities of it.
No worries. Always a pleasure, George. This isn't a
Yeah,
self-help podcast, but what do we call it? We call it words of wisdom. For those of you wondering, that's how we got into the self-help section. So it's not like I cheated the system. The system is there, and self-help because the words of wisdom are helping people daily. George, you know the deal. Something for the
yeah.
audience, some words of wisdom.
Honestly, like, you know, just to keep in theme of just Kobe, right? I think he had such a work ethic that something that I personally been just striving myself, right? Like, it's just to have like the Mamba mentality, right? Like, no matter what happens, you can still make sure you give it more. And the reason I say this is because, like, you know, just recently I went on salary, right? But my shift ends at 3, but I don't leave till like 6, 7 because I still want to provide. I want to make sure that I feel accomplished. You know what I mean? Like, don't do the bare minimum. So everyone that's listening, if you guys stuck around this long,
They did.
it's just more like whatever it is that you're doing, can you do more, right? And will you be willing to give the energy to give more? And that's it, man. Just don't settle. Keep the hashtag mama mentality going. But guys, like, I know, I think the expectation that Hector might have said in the beginning was that I'm funny and everything, but right now it's just a different side of me. But Hector, if you're willing to have me, if people want me back, if the viewings are high, then we'll come at it a different way, man. We'll come
Yeah.
at it at a jokester, and then we'll be post Corona. We won't even bring it up. We'll
Yeah.
bring back the whole stories of. I'll give you a story of one time that I got pulled over with Derek, and I got put behind the back of a cop car, and the cop was like, "Is this guy fucking high or what?" We'll talk about that story, or another story that, you know, I went to a kickback and I told the cop, don't worry, Derek, he can't do anything to us." But I blacked out and I ended up with like 6 cops around me. So I have a lot of stories to tell, man.
Yeah, and,
Uh,
your intro
or
was
the time
very
that I got
quick.
left at Not Scare, the time that I got left at Knott's Berry Farm, and the person that took me ended up crashing their car.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, you know, we'll go through some good stories next time, man. But you know,
Your intro was quick and good. I just said, good friend. He was here on episode 3, and you came in, so it was good. So good episode,
all right,
George.
man.
Always a pleasure. Talk to you soon. Don't be a stranger, dude. I message you. You've seen the fucking thread. I message you. Reply here and there. You don't
Hey,
got to reply every
look,
day.
honestly, if contact me on my cell phone number, man. That's the
All
best
right.
way that you're gonna find me. I don't have social media. Just again Facebook, but again, I'm not really on it. So cell phone.
All right. Always a pleasure, George. Take care. Be safe. I'll see you soon.
Zoom, zoom, motherfucker.
Take care. Thanks for listening, everybody. Remember, no one loves you. Hector loves you. We'll see you next time.